You are listening to episode number 13 of the Happy Choir podcast. Woohoo! Hola, people. I am your host, Carlos Cordero, and I just got really excited because, well, first, it's the 13th episode, and also because I can breathe more today, so that's awesome. But I'm here to help you connect with others through choral music and to remind you that no matter if you're a singer, a composer, or a conductor of choral music, this is your place to share and to learn with others. The Happy Choir podcast is a dream of mine to have a place where I can have these conversations because, to be honest, I'm a big nerd when it comes to choral music. So I'm excited to have this place and to soon welcome guests that will blow our mind and share their wisdom and their experiences, their stories in choral music. Remember that we can continue this conversation because this episode is only 15 minutes. Minutes? That's weird, but anyway, it's only 15 minutes to, well, the guest might be here 1 hour, but we can continue this conversation and to get to know you and to get to know how can I help you, what do you need. And to make that happen, you can email me at carlos@thehappychoir.com or even message me on Facebook or Instagram, where you can find me at Composer Cordero. Cordero as in my last name. See, it can be easy, right? So let's get to the subject of today, connecting with your audience through your performance as an artist. In school, and as we grow up, we spend so much time learning how to sing, how to compose, how to do these things that are technical, right? But I think that we're a little bit lost, or at least I was, when it comes to how to connect with my performance, how to use all of this that I've learned to now talk to the audience. And I'm glad to see out there more people talking about it. Even when I was in UH, a lot of time that I was in concert choral with Dr. Weber, or even in these classes that I got to hear with the voice faculty, they will talk not only about technique, but also why are you doing that and how does it connect with the audience? How do you want to reach the audience and tell them the story? So I'm glad that that's happening, but I'm excited to also bring it here and explore how you can even go deeper and connect with the audience. The first thing that comes to my mind is to try to not be a machine, but just to be a human being, because in these songs that we are singing, in these pieces that we are sharing with the audience, we are telling a story, we are sharing feelings, and that's something that it's not weird to anybody. Even if they haven't had the experience, they can still connect with you through the main emotion. For example, sadness, happiness, the simple emotions, right? Or the most simple, I guess. Do you write music to win competitions? That sounds a little bit machine like. Do you conduct or sing for the fame? And there is something deeper to discuss there. But what I mean is your ultimate goal something as mechanic as these things? Because, yes, it's great to win competitions, but also for me, the most important part is the connection that I create with new people. In fact, I was just thinking today that the amazing part about being a composer is that, well, since it's such a lonely career to sit around and make music, to sit by myself, I get to connect with people afterwards. And something incredible about being a choral composer is that I don't connect with only one people, but one people, one person. But I connect with a whole choir. I get to know 30 voices or a quartet or first a conductor and then a 16 voices ensemble. I mean, that's where the goal is for me, with the human connection and the new people and stories that I get to hear. So I'm an advocate for don't be a machine. Don't act like, oh, I need to do this because this is how you portray this and this is how you behave when this happens. When you're creating an event, you want to make people remember your performance. You don't want them just to sit there and pass some time, right? Give them all you have in your box tool of emotions and in the delivery of the piece. It's a meaningful delivery that you have to put on stage, or even before if you're a composer, or in rehearsal if you are a performer in this case. No matter what it is, if it's funny, if it's sad, romantic, religious, spooky. I love the word spooky, by the way. But the the message will be so much well received if you put your heart out there. Basically, this is how they said it, right? I know that you cannot make somebody understand something or oblige them to do it, but they will have all the information and it will be so much easier for them, for the audience, or for the people that you're trying to reach and to connect with to understand your message when you give this meaningful delivery. Something that I find interesting and that I've been practicing so much more. And it might be creepy for some people, but I really like that part of looking people in the eyes when I'm singing or when I'm talking to them, which is weird here in the podcast because I'm just looking at my office, at my notes. But the cool part is that when you get to look somebody at the eyes, you will have a different experience with them. It will be so much deeper. And even if they look back at you, it's even more interesting. You remember this conversation, you are more, you're closer to this person, I think. And I know it's a challenge for many people. In fact, I've done it so much that I've seen people look away. And even when I'm singing, some people feel uncomfortable to be singing at, I guess is the preposition that I want to use. But it's a special connection that I try to make every time. And I also discover something funny that you cannot look at both eyes at the same time. Oh my God, that was such an uncomfortable thing and a funny thing to think about. But I was, oh, I'm trying to look at both, but I have to take turns to do it. So make it a journey, make it something fun or something different, a challenge that you put to learn how to connect with these people that you already have a relationship, for example. It can be very interesting to now see this nuance, see this little new detail that you add to your life. As we just talked in the last episode of the Happy Choir podcast, right? Something that I like to remind myself and that it's important is that our performance is not only on stage. And this is particularly different for composers because we feel that we feel sometimes that our work it's all in our desk writing music, and there's so much more. It's the way you talk to people, the way you connect with others. Yeah, you can go to stage and on stage and talk to people. Yeah, that too. Or even after the concert, when you go to a rehearsal, those are all performances. So in a more organized way, yeah, we perform in our office, at our home, when we're writing music, when we're rehearsing before going to the concert, when we're studying our piece to go to rehearsal. We also perform in rehearsals when we show up ready, the way that we sing and how present we are in the place, in the piece that we're singing, and how we are connecting with our conductor. Also, we perform by not checking our cell phones during rehearsal, which is something that I've also been guilty of. But there are different ways to present yourself and to stand out from the crowd. So when you are present in the moment and when you try go for that connection, it's different. You will be remembered in a different way. We also perform, I have in my notes that we also perform on concerts day, on stage, but also on the waiting room before going to stage, and also on the hall with all the audience after this great concert. Then you are shaking hands, you are taking pictures, you are thanking them for being there in your audience, supporting you and your music. You perform in several ways, and I feel that, at least for me, I didn't notice all of these moments. But those are precious moments to take a look at. Hey people, I want to take a quick second to tell you how your support makes a difference. When you support me on patreon.com, you are not only giving $3 a month, but you are giving my brand a vote of confidence. This translates to helping several other artists to connect through choral music. Think about it as a cup of coffee that you invite me once a month, only that is way more impactful and personal. Plus, you get to be part of the behind the scenes of my career as a composer, with the many perks that I shared in there. Even if you're not able to give right now, your support listening to this podcast is great. even more if you leave a review in iTunes. Patreon.com/composercordero is the link that you want to visit or share with others. Hope to see you there. We're back to this episode talking about connecting with your audience through your performance. And something important is to remember to perform to connect, not to perform. It sounds very simple and it sounds something that I wouldn't need to say, but I needed to hear it some time ago. To perform for the sake of performance is not as rewarding. Let's say that I just want to sing with this choir because that's just my desire and I just want to check that from my to do list. That just sounds purely ambitious for me, and I think I need more the emotional side too. I don't want to be a body on stage that can appear in a photo and say, yes, I sung with them. No, I feel that there are better ways or use of your time than just being this body that sung with somebody. I invite you to find the comfort zone of being one more voice on the choir. It can be easy to feel that you don't that you're not part of the sound of a choir because there are so many around you. But in reality, you are as important as the person next to you, in front of you, behind you. Everybody in the choir makes the choir, either by being great or by being awful. So choose your side, right? But what I invite you to do is to be present in the concert, in rehearsal, to transform one person's life. That's something that I like to think. Not because I want to go out there and say, oh, I transformed this person's life. No. And that's not my voice, but I don't know, I felt that like doing that. But I feel that through performances, through getting to know some new music, I've been transformed. And sometimes when I connect with somebody on stage, I've I changed through that experience. I feel that when you don't give yourself in a vulnerable way, in a way that people can really see you, you're not letting your audience enjoy all that you can give, all that you are. I understand that it might be difficult, but I've just gotten so much different results now that I give myself a little bit more than I used to. I let myself connect truly with the people that I am around. And it's not as if it's not difficult for me or uncomfortable sometimes, because people that have seen me sometimes when there is too much people around, I just want to breathe a little bit and have my own time, my time to listen to my thoughts. But if you decide to look, I'm just saying connect with one person. Select one person in the audience that you feel that needs to listen to that message today that you're saying, and look them in the eyes, sing. Of course, keep looking at the conductor. That's very important. I don't want to receive emails from conductors that my people are not looking at me and the concerts are ruined because of that. But let's set an example. Imagine you're going to the movies, but the story is just okay. The actors just tried enough. They didn't do a great job. They just this is just enough for people to get it. Or let's say that you go to an important date with your favorite person in the world. This is the person that you admire the most. But the chef only did enough for your food. It is not bad, it doesn't really suck, but it's not life changing. You won't be raving about this food or your time in this place. You will just remember that, this food was, eh, I cannot, I really, I won't remember this time. So, will you be happy if that's the case with your music and with your performance? They can, of course, have their own opinion, but what about your opinion about your performance? Do you feel that you're giving all that so that people can connect with you? Write music to find a message to connect with. Choose pieces that you care about. Not, oh, I'm going to do this. Let's say, I'm going to do this Kyrie because people really need Kyries right now, and I don't care about Kyries, but I just want to do it. That I will say, find something else to do that you can honestly invest your time in and want to connect with, because that's when you're going to strive the most. And I've only realized that this episode is going longer, so, well, it's the first time that I've talked this much, so Yay. I'm getting more comfortable on it. But I digress, so let's get back. Not only when you write music, but also when you perform music and when you're conducting something that you don't care too much about, that's when you're challenging yourself to find something to care about in that piece, to find something to connect with. Getting back to that example of the Kyrie, let's say you're just using it as a way to connect with people, but you're just writing without feeling anything. I don't think your best is going to come out of that because you're not invested in this. You don't believe in this at heart. Writing music just because you have to write today, it's okay. And I haven't been the most successful at it because I'm also learning and also in my process of figuring out this composition career, right? But what I've learned is that if you're curious about what you might discover today, and honestly curious about what detail are you going to connect with today, you will have more fun doing it. Instead of saying, I can't connect with this piece and this is frustrating, I don't want to write today. No. Find the curiosity and the wonder in that project. Challenge yourself to find a new way to connect with what's in front of you. We're almost there at the end of the episode, but I just want to remind you that there is a link for the show notes that I have here in the description, and there you will find all of the links that I'm mentioning here in this episode, as well as my other blog posts and my pieces in my website, thehappychoir.com, where you can also subscribe to my newsletter and get a free guide to learn how to be a happy composer, conductor, or singer that I created just for you, a coupon for a $20 discount on your next choral recording, and also content specially made for you on your choir. I talk about different things every week, and I'm so excited to be sharing this with you. I also want to remind you that in February, no, in case you're listening to this other time, February 2020, I have two performances of two world premieres: Forgiveness with Panoramic Voices and Escucha with Chorus Asin. I'm very excited about these two pieces that are very different, but they are both for choir and strings, and these two organizations are just wonderful. So I hope to see you there. I'll put this information and more in the show notes. So now let's continue. So, to connect with your audience through your performance, think about this. If you show up, you could change someone's life. That's amazing for me. You could change someone's life. Not the whole audience, not the whole stadium, arena, or living room, no matter where your concerts happen. One person. Just think about one person. Maybe it is not sitting in the audience, but maybe that person is next to you or in front of you. Maybe you are not changing somebody from outside the choir. Maybe you are changing your neighbor, or you're showing them something different that they can learn from you, or that they can explore through the way that you convey this message. Maybe it is sitting at home watching you work with passion as you diligently compose or rehearse or study a score as detailed as possible. Think about it. If the concert, if your concert goes wrong, oh, knock on wood, nope. But if it goes wrong, that person will have a bad taste for a second, maybe for an hour, let's say. They might mention it to someone, but that will be the extent of it. If you don't perform with motivation and passion for the message you're delivering, then you might miss this opportunity that to speak to someone. This person came to your concert and you're not going to talk to them in the best way that you can. You could miss your romantic story from the movies, where the person in the audience finds you after the concert and you get married that night. I mean, it might happen, right? I'm a romantic, so. In fact, this reminds me that I'm married now because I pour my heart into a piece called 7 Seconds of Love, and then my now husband, Ryan Heller, connected with this piece in such a way that we had deeper conversations. We extended our connection than just conductor and composer. But getting back to the subject, it is as if you were selling the best cake that you've ever tasted with the worst of moods. Imagine that you have this great product, but you're not putting the effort to do it. I don't think that somebody's going to buy it because they will never know that it's the best cake. Maybe it's your best friend who baked this cake and ask you for your help. Will you get in the way of people and your best friend's awesome cake? Think about it. Will you be on the way of that important message? If you truly connect with that person, with one person, that concert or that piece might change their life completely. They might go home and keep thinking about it for weeks. They might learn something or process something in a different way. Maybe they needed to hear that message. Maybe they were looking for an answer or for the right question, and you gave it to them because you spoke in a very honest and vulnerable way. Maybe they needed to see people spreading that message to the audience. Maybe they needed to see somebody like you singing about this subject. Maybe you give them courage to pursue their own passion after seeing you give so much on stage or in a rehearsal. They might find themselves, the audience might find themselves in your programming. Think about it if you're a conductor, in your program notes, if you're a composer too. They might just find the right message that they were looking for in that moment. On your website or in your social media post, people might connect with you there in a deeper way. Perform to connect, not to perform. Because if we do this, oh yeah, we say, let's do again another program notes, and this is so boring. No, for me, this is a place that we get to speak up to. People will read it, people will try to find an answer there, or maybe they will find it years later. Who knows? They might find joy in your delivery or in your setting of this piece. I mean, there are so many options that we have that we can perform to connect with people. If the audience love your performance, they will rave about it for days, even for months. There are some concerts that I've gone to that I'm still thinking about it and reflecting on their journey that they take me on. A clear example of this was some weeks ago when my husband Ryan Heller and Carla McElhaney, my dear friend and incredible pianist, they gave this concert with Revel. Their Carla founded Revel. It's a chamber ensemble, and they did this concert about journey. And I can tell you, for I wasn't prepared for that concert. It's amazing that, and I want to bring her to the podcast to talk about this because this concert was amazing, and it made me ask a lot of questions about what I want and what I was doing. They talked about beautiful questions and the way that if we, for example, are something bothers us in another person, maybe that says something about us. There was so much things to think about in this concert full of great music and poetry. But see, they gave their performance to connect with others in this chamber setting with just I think 30 people in the audience. It was amazing. People that connect with your concert will post about it and will share it with other friends, which is amazing for you and your brand. They will be inspired to create their own or to even teach something about it. They will reflect on the journey that you've given them, as I did with Revel's concert. So, to finish this episode, I just want to remind you perform to connect, not to perform, and you'll feel a new way of enjoying more what you do. I know that for me, this has changed my career and my life in the choral arts, so I want to share it with you. I would also love if you can share with me this response to these questions. Do you see people in the eyes when you talk or when you sing? Do you feel comfortable doing it? It's just a simple question, but I would like to know where do you stand with this because I know that for some people it's really, really hard. What has been the response that you've had about this? Do people feel weird when you do it? Share it with me and let's keep the conversation going. Remember that the Happy Choir podcast is here to help you connect with others through choral music, through your voice. And I am always open to know how can I help you reach that goal. How can I help you connect with others? See you in the next episode of the Happy Choir podcast. Ciao, people. Woohoo! You've been listening to the Happy Choir podcast. For more information and show notes, visit thehappychoir.com.